So let's take a look at the top 5 units for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Thanks to Games Workshop for sending the indexes through so I can make this video. But before we do, the Adeptus Mechanicus has changed a little bit. Most of the army now hits on 4s, and it feels different. They didn't just used to be guard with extra bionic stuff hitting on 4s. They used to feel like their own identity, but Games Workshop has decided that this army now hits on 4s in the fight phase in most cases, and in the shooting phase in most cases. Of course, they can stay still and get the advantage of Doctrina Imperatives, which gives their entire army heavy, and so they can hit on 3s, but that means the entire army is staying still and hitting on 3s. Gonna have to see how the codex looks. But by the feel of these index cards, it looks like Adeptus Mechanicus is going to go horde mode. It's going to be an army where you're going to need a lot of little units running around all over the place, move blocking, sacrificing here and there. I didn't pick Designate 17 aka Belisarius Call because that was shown off in the Warhammer community. Instead, we're going to start with the Tech Priest Manipulus, that's how you call him. He can join Electro Priests of any flavor, Kataphron Breachers or Destroyers, and Rangers and Vanguard. And he's got his Magna Rail Lance, which is just one shot, and at least he does hit on a 3. Strength 7, -2, 3 damage. And an Omniscient Staff, so he can smack things with. 2-up save, 5+ invulnerable save, only 4 wounds though. And while he's leading a unit, weapons equipped by models in that unit have the lethal hits ability, and lethal hits is 6 to hit, auto wound. But the reason why I want to highlight him is because defend the divine work. Once per battle at the start of any phase, this model can use this ability. If it does so until the end of the phase, all models in the model's unit have a 4+ invulnerable save. So it says once per battle at the start of any phase. That could be in turn 1 if you're going second. That could be at the start of your opponent's shooting phase. You have to declare when you're going to do it. So when suddenly the Tech Priest Manipulus puts a 4+ invulnerable save on a unit, your opponent will know that a 4+ invulnerable save has suddenly gone onto a unit. But you can bring 3 of these guys, and it might be a very good way of keeping units alive, particularly the Breachers and the Destroyers. Electro Priests already have a 5-up invulnerable save, and Skitari, I don't know if you're going to be doing the Skitari, the little troop units. Probably not. Out of the 2 units, the Breachers and the Destroyers, the Breachers win. They have Doctrina Imperatives, and they have Breach in command. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, a reroll a hit roll of 1. And while they're within 6 inches of 1 or more friendly Adeptus Mechanicus battle line units, that is Vanguard or Rangers, you can re-roll the hit roll instead. So having a couple of little units of Vanguard or Rangers screening your Breachers means that their ballistic skill of 4+ doesn't suck so much. And of course, you attach a Manipulus in with them, then once per battle you can give them a 4+ invulnerable save, and they are toughness 7 with 3 wounds and a 3-up flat save now. So they are beefy, and with a 4-up invulnerable save on the turn when you need it, they're not going away anytime soon. Rerolling hit rolls of 1 all the time, rerolling hit rolls all the time. These are definitely better than the Destroyers. What is the best gun? Probably the heavy arc rifle, 2 shots, ballistic skill 4, but rerolling 1s or rerolling all the hits. A strength 8 -2, 3 damage. Against non-vehicles, you're killing Terminators, you're killing Elites, you're putting some pressure on units that are not vehicles, but against vehicles it's got anti-vehicle 4+. So they're always wounding vehicles on a 4+, regardless of the strength of the weapon. And it is rapid fire 2 as well. Within 18-inch range, they are firing out 4 shots. They come in units of 3 to 6, so you could chuck out quite a bit of firepower with lethal hits with a Manipulus nearby, re-rolling either 1s or everything, depending on how much you've buffed them. The Torsion Cannon, D3 shots at 48-inch range, strength 6 -2, 2 damage. Why would you ever take it? The range is nice, but stick with the heavy arc rifle. In close combat, they're not going to be too shabby either. 2 attacks, strength 8, -2, 3 damage. One of them is going to get through, and one of them might mush a Terminator. Sydonian dragoons, toughness 7, 7 wounds, 5+ invulnerable save with the stealth ability, so they're always -1 to hit. To be honest, they haven't changed much from the previous iteration, and the fact that I'm choosing them as one of the top 5 picks tells you what I think about many of the other picks that are found inside the index cards. This unit can shoot and declare a charge in the turn in which it fell back, and you can re-roll desperate escape tests for models in this unit with elevated strider. So it can go charging in there, and it can fall back, and it can charge something else. And every time you put a stratagem on this unit on a 5+, you can get the CP back with broad spectrum data tether. Broad spectrum data tether is a rule which carries across many of the Adeptus Mechanicus index units. Many of the vehicles regain a CP on a 5+. The Taser Lance, it hits on 4s. It's got 4 attacks, but it's got sustained hits too. So when it gets in there, 6s to hit, explode twice. The Lance ability is quite nice though. Lance is +1 to wound on the turn that you charge. So strength 7, -2, 2 damage with +1 to wound. On the turn, you go charging in there. Anti-Walker 2+. I can't see these guys charging into too many dreadnoughts, but being able to fall back and charge, they're going to be a good screening unit. They're going to be a good close combat unit, but they're certainly not the best close combat unit in the game. In the index, the best close combat unit in the index is still going to be your Castellan robots. Before we take a look at the Castellan robots, we have to take a look at the cybernetic datasmith. To change your battle protocols of your Castellan robots, you need to pass a leadership test of 7. And then once you're in Protector, Conqueror or Aegis protocol, you stay in it until you pass a leadership of 7 and change again. And he adds 2 attacks to the ranged guns, or adds 2 attacks to melee weapons to the Castellan robots, or he adds 1 to the toughness. But basically, you're going to be adding to, if you've got shooty bots, you're going to be changing that protocol in your command phase to get as much firepower as you got. Or if you've got punchy bots, you're going to be changing it to get 2 attacks and get them as punchy as they can be. And you're probably going to be bringing punchy bots because you're going to need some kind of forward screen to protect all the soft meat behind. You're going to be using Sydonian dragoons, you're going to be using Castellan robots, or at least I am. So let's take a look at the Castellan robots. And yes, the Castellan robots hit on 4s. While the cybernetic datasmith is attached to one of these units, at least the cybernetic datasmiths get a 4+ feel no pain. And Castellan robots still have a repulsor grid, so they still bounce shots back and do mortal wounds to the unit that shot it, but it's been simplified. Repulsor grid, each time a ranged attack is allocated to a Castellan robot model in this unit, and on a modified saving throw of 6, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound after it's finished making its attacks. They are tougher now, Castellan robots. They're toughness 9 with 7 wounds and a 5+ invulnerable save, but the unit size is capped at 4. 2 to 4 of these guys. So you're probably bringing 4. You're probably giving them the punchy version, and you're probably just throwing them forward. If you bring 1 Castellan fist, you've got 4 attacks. If you bring twin Castellan fists, you've still got 4 attacks, but you've got twin linked, which is reroll wounds. Do you need reroll wounds? Because those fists are hitting at strength 12, -2, 3 damage. Surely they're wounding most things on 2s and 3s. Maybe the best way to ring them is with 1 fist. So they've got 6 attacks because you've changed their protocol, hitting on 4s, 12 attack, 12 strength 12, -2, 3 damage, and then having a phosphor blaster in 1 fist, and then the heavy phosphor blaster on the back, the incendiing combustor on the back, and you've got ignores current on all these guns. But if you have a look, the Castellan phosphor blaster now is strength 6, AP 0, 2 damage. So the shooty bots with the heavy phosphor blaster on the back will have 5 shots, a strength 6 -1/1 damage, and shooty bots with 2 shooty phosphor blasters in both fists will have 5 shots, a strength 6 AP 0, 2 damage, twin linked. It all ignores cover, but AP 1 to AP. Anyway, one of the top 5 picks in the Admech index. I'm sure I'm missing something. I need to get these guys on the battlefield, play test a couple of different units, find out how this army functions now, because I feel from looking through the index that this army is gonna function differently to however it's functioned before. I need someone who's really good at battle reports to put battle reports up so I can watch them and figure out where the combos are and how to play them, because after reviewing the index, I've got no idea. Despite my limited understanding, these are my top 5 picks. I say limited understanding, I've been playing with them since they were invented, but they've changed now. I'm not bitter. You are. Who's bitter? I am. I'm bitter. Happy wargaming?